Ladies, gentlemen, filmmakers and moviegoers alike, welcome to this week's episode of Oh, fuck. Jesus, your camera angle. I have to move you.
Why so far?
I don't know. Last week and this week, you're completely different.
That seems impossible because I'm still dead center.
I don't get it, but you were very different on the screen there.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I bet you for the rest of the night, you're probably going to be in the wrong spot, too. Ah, crap.
That's so weird.
Well, we'll figure that out later. Welcome to Critically Casual, everyone. I'm Srekcuf5. Joining me is Dev. For some reason is out of place, but we'll figure that out later.
I guess so.
Yeah. Hi, Dev. What's up?
I don't know. We watched movies. I don't know.
Yeah, we watched movies. I actually made sure to edit the tweet to say reviewing rather than watching because I feel like it's misleading to say we're watching movies on stream when we're not.
We're not, so you're right.
Yeah, we're reviewing movies on stream. Yeah. This week, I was so clever, and here's 2,000 Reasons Sci-fi.
Man, when you make a title, you make them, don't you?
I do, and it felt relevant because they're around the 2000s era. They're not quite, but
Neither of them were made in the 2000s.
I know they're close.
That doesn't mean they were in the 2000s, Steven.
Yeah, but that sounded catchier than 1995 Reasons Why. Reasons Sci-fi.
That's not how this works.
It's close enough. Approximately good enough. We're watching Galaxy Quest, then we're going into The Fifth Element. We're reviewing Galaxy Quest because we're not watching anything on stream. We're reviewing Galaxy Quest. We're reviewing The Fifth Element. And then we're ending everything with the news and some wrap up. You ready?
I don't know.
Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get into?
Nope. I mean, we might as well just get into this.
We're getting into this. We're ready, even though we're not ready. Ow. Wow, that's pretty bad. Hang on. Here we go. There we are. That's better. Ooh, that's a doozy. I'm going to fix that now while everything's in place. But, yeah, we're going to start everything off by talking about Galaxy Quest. I'm excited for this. Especially because many of people have called Galaxy Quest the greatest Star Trek movie ever made.
And honestly, they're not far off.
I kind of, yeah.
It strangely holds up, too.
Mm-hmm. Like, I was a little worried, only because of Tim Allen being the main host of the movie, or the main actor of the movie. But, main host, man, I'm in podcast mode today, can't you tell?
Yeah, you are.
I was a little worried, but it held together. It was very funny. Well, not very funny. Well, pretty funny is a good way to put it.
I mean, it has, some good people like Sam Rockwell, our Marvel connection of the day, who is Mr. Hammer from Iron Man 2. Sam Rockwell. My name is Michael Caine. Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell is genuinely hilarious in everything he is. He's the best part of Iron Man 2. And he is absolutely hilarious in this. And the rest of the cast is fantastic too.
Yeah,
with Alan Rickman, Sigourney Weaver, Tony Shalhoub, Daryl Mitchell. Like everyone in this absolutely kills it.
Dude, there was a young Rainn Wilson in this movie. There's like so many good actors in this movie.
Justin Long is in it.
Mm-hmm. Like, my goodness. The thing that happened with this movie are pulled off are pretty darn good.
Yeah. The fact it was released on Christmas Day, 1999, with a budget of only $45 million, and it turned all of that into getting 7 million on the U.S. opening, 71 million gross U.S. and 90 million worldwide. Shows that this is pretty good, and it's a cult classic too.
Mm-hmm. Old classic indeed. Oh, did I really? I'm so dumb.
What?
There is a mistake. Just somewhere. Nowhere relevant. Pretty easy to spot.
You spelled galaxy wrong?
Maybe.
Did you put a G instead of an X?
I put a Z instead of an X for some reason. I'm a genius,
Galaxy Quest.
I'm a genius, man.
Just God, I hate it.
Yeah, just don't look at it. It'll be fine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just don't look at it. You're fine. So, this movie, honestly, I really enjoyed watching again. Like, there was a lot of random gags in there that were funny that I didn't remember. There was a lot of visual sight gags that I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not sure if I even recognized these the first time I watched it. Because they were just that funny. I think my favorite part, though, now, the one thing that I definitely didn't understand at all when growing up watching this was Tony Shalhoub's part. Especially after his trip through the hyperspace, whatever it was, wormhole. He's just like, wow, that was something.
Yeah.
Like, all of us, pretty damn good. I enjoyed this a lot. I would watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah, no, same.
Yeah, the acting was great. The jokes were funny. I have no complaints. I mean, maybe the most I can complain about is maybe one scene where they forget that the wings of the ship are wider than the nose of the ship. But
yeah, I mean, depends on how you tilt it.
It all depends, yeah. So, there's that. If I had to say, like, wonder if any part was a little weird at all, I would say there were no weird parts. I like the whole thing.
I can actually kind of agree for the most part. Like, there's no part in this where I really felt like there was no, like, aged jokes.
No.
If that makes sense. There's, like, maybe one at the beginning, where someone drops the R word.
Mm-hmm. Does it still lose a
but-
point?
Well, because the context of how the dude says it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense, because that's when someone, like, because it's used in a way to be an insult
Mm-hmm.
in a, like, situation that the person who's using the insult would have used it there. And it's, like, somewhat, it's not just a throwaway, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not just thrown in there at the last minute because your character wants to say something mean.
Yeah.
Like Freddy
It's
versus
not
Jason.
like with, yeah, exactly. It's not like Freddy versus Jason just throwing homophobic shit in there just to say it.
Mhm.
Like, this is in there because I mean, it is dated. Like, that is the only, like, the way it's used is dated, but it works in the sense that, like, even today that it's used in an insult like that,
Mhm.
and not in a, like, a good way. I'm not saying it's good that it is, but it's like, it's less okay to say that, so the person saying it in that context sort of makes sense, because they're not supposed to be portrayed as a good person. If that makes sense. Like, it should be it should be the thing that ages.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
the way it's used makes sense.
I believe I hear what you're saying. Like, it still kind of sucks that they used it, but the framing around it and who the character is that says it, and like everything involved with it kind of meshed together to make it like your emotions with how you feel the word was being used and how it was actually used kind of similar. Like the purpose of its use.
Yes. Like, it's not supposed to be used in a good way, and the person using it isn't using it in a good way. Or, like, because it's not, it, like, I mean, uh,
It's a complex situation.
yes. Yeah, like, that would be the most glaring thing, and, like, even then, I don't think it's, like, it could have been used worse.
Mm-hmm. For me, I think the worst part of this movie is CG. But then again, it is a 1999 sci-fi movie.
I was gonna say, what do you need from it, huh? What more do you want there?
I'm just kidding.
It had a $45 million budget, Steven.
Did it? What else did it have, Dev?
I went over that.
I know.
Don't pull that shit with me.
Oh, I think honestly, my favorite thing too is the thermites.
Armenians?
Thermians. I love how they all run. Like, you understand what they are underneath their like hollow costume.
Yeah.
And it's like it makes complete sense why they all run with their hands down and kind of wobbly.
Yeah.
Like, I love the character decisions. I like the comedy. Oh, there's one moment that I noticed where they use the exact same take twice, and it's of Liari, whatever. That character, where she smiles, and it's the same clip. Her smiling both times.
Well, you know,
Oh, or the obvious ADR when
there were some very obvious ADR moments.
I think my favorite moment is when Alan Rickman and his character ends up meeting with Qualek, and he's like, "Where are the others?" And like Alan Rickman's head turns away, and then you can hear he has a such more dramatic tone to his voice, and he's like, "I'll tell you on the way."
Yeah.
One thing I do like too is that it skips all the huge exposition dump that we really don't need in the very beginning. It gives us to it a little bit more organically to the situation as they bumble their way through it.
It shows, not tells.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it still kind of tells. Like,
Well, it tells in a showing way.
mm-hmm. Like when we learn about the Gilligan's Island people, and then when we find out that now how many of them are left.
Yeah.
That's all tell. That's no show. But then again, I think I'm totally okay with that being all tell because I think it'd be weird for them to cut away to show like, you know, these people living on an island, Gilligan's Island style.
True. That'd be a little weird.
What do they think that is? Family Guy? But
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Family Guy in the cutaways.
yeah, cutaways are funny sometimes, depending on what they are. But yeah, honestly, when all is said and all is done, I really don't have much to complain about. The stuff that I can complain about, I can easily overlook. But there are things that I can complain about, and that's like where I'm in this weird spot where the way I'm talking about it, it would sound like I'm gonna give it a high score, but I'm not really gonna. Like, like it's not getting a 9 or a 10. I'll tell you that much. Like those are beyond the grasp of this movie. And I think honestly what it has to deal with for me is while this is a fun, entertaining movie, it doesn't quite like captivate me. At least not anymore. It might have when I was younger, but it definitely doesn't just draw all of my attention into it anymore. And I don't really know how to explain that.
That's fair.
Could just be my tastes, like, but still, yeah. Like, there are other things now. For instance, just a completely side tangent here. The last episode of Invincible, I was like on the edge of my seat, like, holy shit. But I know those are completely different genres and styles here, but like that has me gripped. While this one had me like, oh, that's funny. Huh? Did Dev send me a message? Did Dev finally let me in?
It's not my fault. I'm working.
It's not, because I hit the wrong button. It's 100% my fault.
Yep.
But I still like to pass the blame when I can.
Well, there's no blame for me, so.
All your fault. You
Oh.
picked me. From the very beginning, it was your fault. All those years ago. The butterfly effect.
Butterfly effect?
The butterfly effect.
The butterfly effect.
I have too many teeth to talk about that. Anything else you want to talk about in Galaxy Quest?
I mean, it's a good Star Trek movie.
It is
If you like Star Trek, watch it. Like, genuinely. Yeah. Even if you have like a base knowledge of Star Trek, like you've seen some of the movies, and that's it, you'll still enjoy it.
Yeah, I find this hilariously funny, and it does very much feel like it does have a Star Trek kind of ending, where it all kind of like neatly folds together in the end, and it's feel good.
Yeah, it works out very well,
especially for the character that you used in your GIF.
yes, yes, it does.
So yeah, I guess Dev, I'm gonna give you your popcorn kernels for Galaxy Quest.
I'm at an 8.
An 8, nice.
Huh?
I was gonna give it a 7.5.
Well, you little bitch.
Yeah, it still gets an 8 overall, which is good. That's kind of what I wanted to give it. But like I said,
then
there's just enough to make me not feel like
what?
It deserves
what is there?
I said it all. Were you not listening to me?
What's holding it back from half a point?
In the half a point for me, I think honestly comes down to ADR. Like, yes, maybe half a point.
So you take a half a point off of all of Star Trek before it?
Absolutely. I literally grade every movie harsher than you.
I know, but I'm just saying you could be. This is one that like you would understandably lenient on.
Mm-hmm. Fine, give it the fucking 8.
Hey, solid 8. Listen, I'm just trying to bring your average score up for the end of the year.
I don't need a higher score, teacher. I will pass just fine with my C's.
You didn't get a C last year, remember?
As long as it's a liberal arts degree, a D will be fine.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Not true, actually. You can't graduate with a D. You can with a C, though.
I need to grab something real quick, but go ahead and start in the next movie.
You're still okay. He's setting up a.
I'll be right back. I just need to go grab something really quick.
All right, fine.
Just start the next movie.
I'm starting the next movie. Gosh. So the next movie, it is The Fifth Element, which, to be completely honest with you, I love. The Fifth Element is like one of my favorite movies, and it's definitely getting a higher score than Galaxy Quest, that's for sure. There's quite a bit to talk about here. And, it's hard to just fill in the space. I know I do this to Dev all the time, where I tell him to just fill in the space. But when the whole point of this...
Did you not start the fucking... You didn't even start it.
I did too. I transitioned to the slide. I started talking about how it's one of my favorite movies. And then we get into the discussion, really, and... yeah. Basically, the summary of this movie, for anyone who's never watched it, is it's a very colorful, kind of bright future. It's not like a bad future. It's still kind of disappointing. I'll be completely honest. But it's not like post-apocalyptic, and it's not like um, cyberpunky, and it's not like it's not like a noir style where it's all grimy and gritty. It's like just normal life. Everything's casual and everyday, but it's 300 years in the future, and the apocalypse, or not the apocalypse, I should say, Galactus is coming in the shape of a dark Earth this time instead of a space storm,
You're just revealing everything on this one.
and that's about it.
Yeah, this movie came out on May 9th, 1997, with a budget of $93 million. Opening US is 17 million, gross US is 63 million, and worldwide 263 million.
How was I revealing everything? I didn't even like. Of course, there's a bad guy.
Yeah, but you didn't have to reveal what the bad guy was.
Sure.
How dare you?
It's literally on the poster.
Yeah, well, whatever. So we have the return of Mila Jovovich.
Yes, that's how well you said her name.
I did it right this time. Look at that. V's are easy. V's are easy for me in names because my name has a V. It's like I have to be good with a V, right?
Yes, but
do not take that out of context.
Good thing there's no highlight show for this channel.
Seriously. Don't edit this into the other fucking video.
I'll be fine.
Okay. After we started the month with her in a movie, we end the month with her in a movie.
We do.
What just polar opposites these two movies are.
Yeah.
I gave Monster Hunter a 0.5. This movie I will not.
Yeah, this movie is far better.
This is another, like, I'm genuinely surprised this one hasn't aged also, really. Like, the jokes and humor in it and, like, its action stuff really didn't age.
Not at all. I genuinely liked how well this movie came out. I think my favorite part, too, is their use of effects when where they amplified the practical effects with the digital stuff. Like, everything that they had a prop for. But if they had to do something major with it, they alter it with CGI, and it all blends together so well. I love the editing for the storytelling, how there's literally multiple moments within the film where you're jumping between the three different storylines that are happening, but it's all so cohesive that they're all telling the one story still at the same time. And this movie has there's
some great cuts where someone's saying something and it cuts the other person like instant, which is one of those like weirdly guilty pleasures I have in a movie when like you're having two groups having similar conversations about like a similar topic, and they're both kind of like at that like beat for beat talking about it, and that you can easily transition between both of them and get what's being talked about.
Exactly. Yes.
It's really good. I love that.
It's so cool. And I think this movie has my favorite thing about any movie ever, and it's that our antagonist, who in most of this movie's case, the main antagonist is Mr. Zorg, played by Gary Oldman, and our main protagonist is Bruce Willis, and they never meet each other. At no points are they on screen at the same time. The closest they ever get is an elevator interaction, and where one elevator opens as the other one closes. And that's the closest they ever get to being on screen at the same time. It's so cool to me.
Yeah. Because everyone else kind of meets him in a way.
Yeah. Every other character has like an interaction with him. Because we have the priest who meets him, and Lilu meets him, but Bruce Willis does not. Bruce Willis doesn't even really know he exists.
Nope. It works out really well. It works really well.
It really does. I am addicted to it. Like, there are some weird moments that don't need to be in the movie, but those also I think are what really brings it up for me. Like Ruby Rod, for instance. Wow, does he not need to be in this movie? But does he make that whole sequence so much better? Yes.
Like Chris Tucker is fucking entertaining.
Like, oh my god, is he great?
I know we've talked about it, but we have to do a Rush Hour like episode at some point.
Yeah, Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3.
I mean, Rush Hour 4 is apparently announced, so you know, maybe.
Maybe.
You know what happens? We have 2 weeks of Rush Hour.
Hate my life. I hate Rush Hour.
You live in it all the time. You live in one. It's always Rush Hour traffic there.
Yeah. But yeah, like I love everything that they do with this movie. I love I think one of my favorite scenes too is them entering into the room before they meet Lilu for the first time, and they're underneath the black lights. That is super fascinating. I love the apartment complex scene where all three parties enter into his apartment at one point.
Yeah.
Is it 4 parties at that point? Either way, it's all 3 storylines are there.
Yeah, No, I think it'd be 4 parties.
Yeah,
you got both the antagonist and both the protagonist side in teams.
Mhm.
If that makes sense. And then Bruce Willis. So technically, like 5 parties in a way.
Battle of 5 armies in his apartment.
But does Bruce Willis count as his own team? Yes, because it's Bruce fucking Willis.
Like, man, this movie when it brought me back watching it again. I was super happy with watching it. It don't get me wrong, there's some cheesy things in there, like the resolution of the movie being like what the fifth element actually was. That for that instance, but or how they kind of treated Lilu's character in the whole time, because Lilu is a badass woman. She's literally the perfect being, and they still treat her like property.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I feel like if this is a movie that could be, all right, controversial take, but this is a movie that could use a redo. In the sense of just like,
I don't disagree with you, honestly.
hey, look at me, I'm smart.
This one movie, I love this movie. It is a 100% a classic. Nothing that they could do to this film will change. But nothing they could do to the next version of this movie could change this version of this movie. So
right,
that's at least something we'll always have. That being said, like this fits in this weird pocket of my heart where I'm like, I don't want to change anything. Like,
that's fair. I mean, like there's minor things that could be just like touched up, I guess, in the sense of like story and just like making Lilu just a little bit more like
her own character.
Yeah.
She's
That's
not really
probably
the
only major problem with the movie is her.
Yeah.
Like not being like having agency. That's what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Like despite being someone who should have all the agency.
Mm-hmm. But nope. I can agree with you in that instance. But I feel like all anyone would do in this instance is they would try to upgrade the graphics. And then they'd be like, ha! You can fit so many Lilus in this bad boy. Slap, slap.
Oh, God damn you. That's a bad joke.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Oh, man. But yeah, like I honestly, watching through this movie again recently, I think I watched it twice before the show. I like this movie, and I've watched this movie so many freaking times. Like, hey, great. It's not a masterpiece by any means, but it's great. I recommend this movie to anybody and everybody. Um, it's like it's quirky, but it feels so well put together for me. There's not really a moment that's really unneeded. I mean, there's kind of stuff out there that's silly, like for instance, I find it weird that our main character is very willing to talk to his boss, who goes by the name of Finger, about his romance life, but and we don't even know who Finger is.
Yeah, we never meet him.
Yeah, we never meet him, and there's no credits for it. It's also kind of weird that the Mr. Shadow, as he's called, has a voice.
Movie got a movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Unneeded. Any other unneeded things that we probably didn't need?
Well,
Probably didn't need the parasites with the flight sequence.
yeah, that was a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of out of nowhere with it.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of a joke about who were we filling up the tanks to.
Yeah, that one just seems to be there.
Yeah. If they were to remake that joke, they'd probably pick. I don't know who they'd pick. Depends on which country made it.
I don't know. Not an expert on those kind of things.
Nope. No one's an expert on racial issues.
No, there are experts on it, but I guess it's another thing that would need to be touched up too. But two things out of the rest of the movie, like that's not too bad overall. Could be worse.
You're not wrong. Like, I like this movie. I really like this movie. This is gonna be one of the movies, like, there's a quirky style to this movie that I enjoy. I'm gonna have to learn more about Luke Besson. Probably watch a few more of his movies myself. I mean, they're interesting. I mean, we've seen a good amount of his other movies. I've seen a good amount, at least. Like, there was Taken 3 that's come out. He's done Lucy. He's Taken 2, District 13, Transporter. Like, done some pretty
Are you looking at written or directed?
Kind of about everything, really. Like, Anna is a movie that I was interested. Well, I was and wasn't interested in watching at the same time. Only because it kind of felt like it was out of nowhere. Guess I'll have to watch it. Need to watch more. But because this movie kind of distinctly reminds me of Edgar Wright and his editing. Or in his storytelling. I mean, the editing is different visually, for sure. They completely have different visual editing styles. But there's a quirkiness to it that I love that kind of reminds me of it. So.
Fair. I don't know. I think for me, like, I think it's kind of in this weird little spot where this movie I've seen this enough times, but I always forget what actually happens in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know it's kind of weird, but for being a sci-fi movie, this is probably one of the least memorable sci-fi movies I've watched, for me at least. While also being one of the most memorable ones I've watched, if that makes sense. Like, there's memorable things about it, but like as a movie overall, it just leaves as soon as I watch it. Like, I was taking the shower after work, right before the show, and I was sitting there, I'm like, I know that we have 2 movies to review today, but my brain is blanking on the second one. Like, I know it was The Fifth Element, but things that happened, just like my brain's already going like gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as like a total plot point wise, which is weird, but it's one of those. It's a weird movie to say that with, because it should be like one of the most memorable movies, but like it just doesn't hit for me like that for some reason.
I mean, I don't entirely blame you. Like, there's no major sci-fi set pieces. This is all very character driven in their moments, but none of the characters are super sci-fi related. Like the two thing that's like the images that pop, the scenes that really make me think about this movie are the blue vocal alien singer lady, um, whose name I am forgetting. It's her and her story and how she reacts, and then the only other person that I think of regularly, well, is Lilu, and then I think of Zorg, like just because of their character designs. Like freaking Zorg has a metal leg that you actually never really see on screen. Like,
Yeah,
that's cool.
true.
You only know it's there because his leg clicks and he has a limp. But yeah, other sci-fi, like there's not really other super sci-fi-ish things that I can think of. Like there's no like battle of good versus evil. There's no super aliens that are trying to devour humanity. There's no laser swords. Uh I mean, there's technically a battle of good versus evil, but it doesn't feel as like grandiose. It's very like I'm a retired cop who's doing his job.
Yeah, but I mean, like you can still make that very sci-fi, i.e., Blade Runner,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, or Blade Runner 2049.
Mm-hmm.
Like those stuck with me. Like I've seen this movie multiple times, and my brain still wipes after the viewing.
All right. I got nothing for you then.
I don't get it. It's well, it's in this weird spot that like it doesn't it doesn't leave a lasting impact beyond like the viewing for me,
Mm-hmm.
which it kind of sucks because it's just like I know this movie is a lot of people's like a go-to movie for them,
It's definitely a go-to movie for me.
but it just doesn't leave it the impact that I think it should.
Okay. I mean, I don't necessarily blame you. I really don't. I like when I compare movies, like when I think of sci-fi hits, I think Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think Star Trek, of course. Um, there is, let's see, there is Babylon
2001.
5. There's 2001: A Space Odyssey,
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, like Battlestar Galactica, depending on if you like that kind of stuff. Like all of those have a very sci-fi.
Even Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, those all have a sci-fi feel to them.
And this one has a sci-fi feel, but it just doesn't have like I guess to me it doesn't have a lasting sci-fi like because sci-fi I've always when it came to sci-fi stuff I've always been the more like attached to that while you've been more attached to fantasy.
Mm-hmm. You like me a good fantasy.
So I don't know why it never sticks with me. No.
Probably because this is more of a fantasy story than it is a sci-fi story.
Yeah, but fantasy stories and sci-fi stick with me the best. I.e. Star Wars. Star Wars is a fantasy story
Yeah, in a
with
sci-fi
world. It is
Lord of the Rings in space.
yes, 100%. It is Space Lord of the Rings.
Must go to the Dagobah.
They're taking the Jedi's to Dagobah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's something that I feel like it should resonate with me, but it just doesn't for some reason. It's weird.
I mean, it could be literally how I described it was it's just your casual everyday, only just like 300 years in the future. Like nothing really feels super special about it.
Maybe I don't
Like they
know.
still have to go to freaking subways.
I don't know, man. Maybe next viewing we'll figure it out.
Maybe. But until then, are you ready to dissect it even further and go into spoilers after we review it with our popcorn kernels?
Yeah, I'll give you your popcorn
All right.
kernels.
For me, this movie gets, well, see, now that the last movie is an 8, I have to give this one higher than that. But it's not a 9. I'll give it an 8.5.
Well, I am giving it a 6.5. Putting it at a 7.5 overall. Yeah, I think it's legitimately the other reason. It's just because it just doesn't stick with me for longer than the like. Legitimately, it's a movie that I watch it during the viewing, and then after that, it's just gone. It should have more impact, but it doesn't. Like everything about it should click with me.
Mm-hmm. Maybe because it's Bruce Willis. I don't know.
Let's get
yeah.
ready to spoilers!
I need, since you walked away, I'm going to walk away for a second because I thought I was supposed to get dinner, but not been brought into me yet. So I'm going to go see where dinner is.
Got it.
All right, I'll be right back. Go ahead and say whatever you want. I won't flip you off when I get back into frame because I'm a nice person.
There, I did it for him. I don't know. Like this movie's, I'm not the one who should be like. I should have walked away now. He should have walked away earlier, because I'm not the one who should be doing the spoiler talk. Because like genuinely, this movie just slips through my brain's memory core and just goes away as soon as I'm done watching it. It doesn't make a lick of sense how it happens, but it does.
I don't want noodles. Hi, friends.
Hi.
They forgot about me.
Oh.
I'm exaggerating, but
no, I was just saying that I should have walked away now, and you should have walked away earlier, because I am the last person who should be doing the spoiler section.
I mean, probably, but I assumed I'd have dinner. I'm just kidding.
I just realized why my camera was on a tilt, and now it's even.
All right, well, all's fine.
I'm still center, so it doesn't matter.
It's
Which, again, doesn't make sense why I was moved so much at the beginning of the show.
I don't know yet.
That was just bizarre. No, I was saying that, like, I genuinely am not the best one to talk about spoilers on this movie, because, like, I
don't remember anything?
I mean, I remember stuff, but it's like...
See.
And there are things I really like about it that I remember, but, like, and we kind of already discussed it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, spoiler-wise, there isn't much that I need to talk about that I didn't already talk about, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's a cat that has entered screen, audio listeners.
Yeah, it's adorable. Look at this little tail here. Look at it being all cute. Don't attack my hands for messing with your tail.
But yeah, like I don't know.
Like for me, let's talk about what happens in this movie. Let's go by it one by one. Only because the movie starts in the past, 300 years in the past, with a scientist discovering a temple or something. It's just some building in the middle of a desert somewhere. And it says something about there being a fifth element. Then these aliens come from the sky, and they take all these 4 stones and the fifth element, which is the statue of a person, and they load it into the ship and they leave. And they're like, "We'll be back in 300 years." 300 years later, black sun forms, or black star forms, because these like stars align or something. And you're not remembering any of this, are you?
No, I remember
Okay.
all of this. I just didn't expect us to do a play-by-play. We haven't done a play-by-play for
Well, I'm trying
like
to
a year.
If I hit a spot where you want to interject, please do. Like,
I mean, if you have talking points, hit the talking points. I can add to that, but like,
I was really excited for this week. I was like, cool. These are sci-fi, modern sci. Well, not modern.
I
but
have
sci-fi
like
movies.
honestly, you should have flipped the order because I have way more to say about Galaxy Quest than I can about Fifth Element. Which
It's
is
so
probably the-
disappointing.
What do you want
Today's
from
the
me?
worst
I'm
day
sorry.
ever.
Oh, boo
No
fucking who.
dinner and no quality discussion of Fifth Element.
I'm sorry. It's just I've watched this multiple times and it just does not stick with me. What do you want from me?
See, to put on a show, the show must go on. As one says.
I've tried, but I don't have a way to do that if my brain just literally goes like, I mean, this happened, but like the nitty gritty to how these things happen or these events happen or these scenes that I enjoyed happen, just gone through the ether. Bye-bye.
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 Let's see. One of the things, fine, I'll go through parts that I liked. One of the parts
All
that I
right.
liked, Zorg, when he's trying to get the stones, not only does he get an empty box once, he gets an empty box twice, only to be
Yes.
surprised by a third box, which is,
That is
not empty. Yeah.
That is a great rule of threes.
It's so good because he's like, especially his reactions each and every time. Let's see. Another part that I really enjoy about this movie is I love the vocals and the music from the Blue Lady. She is awesome and clever, and I love the way she sounds. I think it would have been interesting, and one thing that I would do if they remade this movie is I would change kind of how we hear her to where not only can we hear the words coming out of her mouth, but they'd add like an effect to it so we could like hear her in our brains kind of thing. Like, people can make it so it seems like you're being talked to psychically as well as normal wise, so it makes sense to me, like making her voice being something that like transcends just voice. Like, that'd be kind of cool. But that sounds more sci-fi to me.
That does. I'm wondering how you would pull that off, but go off, King. The thing I would also change about her was, I know it's all practical, but like it does look a little silly.
The big head or
the whole thing. Like,
I do
it
love
looks
that
like
all
a
of this is
woman on
practical.
stilts.
Kind of it.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Especially when they
And-
start reaching into her and pulling out the stones.
Well, it's not just that. Like, I mean, for me, it's the fact that like when I see her, her upper body is too human. Like,
Until you get to her head, then there's like a 7 head.
well, the problem is that like because of the lower half being so like disproportionate to their upper body, my illusion is broken and the head also just doesn't matter to me. Like, it's a weird thing for my brain to get tripped up on with her, but like it literally is just like it's to me it's too blatantly someone on stilts.
Good thing she's only in one scene then, because that's all you'd obsess about for the whole movie. Like, why is she on stilts? But why is she on stilts?
Shut up. I've only done that for 2 movies. And they both made sense, my things that I got hooked on, all right? Indy punching a woman is like, why did he do that?
It was an accident in the heat of the battle.
I don't care. He fucking decks a woman.
Because it was
What was the other one? What was the other one that I was stuck on?
Shit, I can't remember now. I usually just lean on
The Indy?
the indie reference.
Yeah, I know. Because the last time it happened, you leaned on that. It's gonna click for you before it clicks for me, because you seem to resonate with these moments more than I do. So, but no, like I guess like for some reason, just like my brain kind of couldn't do the disbelief. What's the term? Did you remember?
No, not of the thing. I'm just thinking it's funny that you're like, Just yeah, that disbelief thing, just
I can't.
you're muted. You're deafened, I think.
Oh, whoops! I
Yeah,
accidentally
there
hit my
we go.
mouse
Yeah.
button. I went like this and accidentally hit my mouse. What's that phrase? It's
Um, now that you're asking me,
Yeah,
couldn't
so
tell
fuck
ya.
you. You laugh at me, but you can't remember either. Go fuck yourself.
So,
You know,
you always just gotta allow yourself a certain amount of disbelief.
oh, fuck. It's such an easy turn to remember, and it's just gone. It's just gone.
I can't.
I'm so tired after work today, if you can't tell. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to be like, this isn't a real thing, right? I was only able to see. God damn, the cat! It is messing with the mic.
Can you? Oh, is it audible?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me sooner?
Because you bumping it.
I couldn't tell that it was actually audible bumps.
Well, what it was doing was this.
Yeah. I was like, I can literally smack this thing sometimes and no one can hear it. So.
Well, it's because it was the pop filter hitting against the mic.
Well, it told me
So-
sooner. Gosh.
It happened. It had just started. I was just addressing it.
Have you remember what it's called yet?
No,
Suspension.
thank you. Suspension of disbelief. I wasn't able to do that because my brain saw it as woman on stilts. The moment she came on screen, I was like, "That's a woman on stilts." And then she walks out on stage, and I'm like, "That's a woman on stilts with a prosthetic head." Like, it's a cool scene, but like my brain's ability to suspend the disbelief there just like for some reason was impossible. Like I just looked at her, I'm like, because I know that you're on stilts, like I have overanalyzed you now. And you just look fake to me. Like I would have rather it been old CG. Like touched up with old CG.
I mean, pretty much all the other characters were old CG. I mean, they weren't, but I love the morph scene between the Gruul people and when they like morph into their human forms.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Those are some good visual effects.
Like I still love that Zorg and Bruce Willis never meet. I do find it funny that the bomb scene happens because it's like, okay, I've set the bomb. Everyone's worrying about this bomb. We slide in the thing. I have diffused it. All right, cool. And then not even a second later, the second bomb starts ticking at 5, and it's like, well, fuck.
No, that's great.
I
And the
love.
rule of 3 boxes works really well.
I also love with like the Zorg thing too, how he almost dies from a fucking cherry. The whole plot of the movie could have ended right then and there. I love that kind of little like subtlety and humanity to it.
Could have been over in the first 5 minutes.
But the priest was too nice of a person.
For better or worse.
I guess for better, really, if you think about it. I mean, they're in the same business, right?
Well, more bad people were taken out, so
That's true.
yeah. I mean, more good people were taken out.
Kind of. Yeah. Let's see. Sequence settings that I would change. I'd probably change the before when we get introduced to all those random characters from Rudy Rod when he's like, yeah, we got this person and we got this person and we got this person, and he like gives us a brief like 2-second background of who they are, only so we can get a payoff to a joke about a guy not being able to hear and throwing Bruce Willis the wrong weapon, as in no weapon at all.
I still think that's funny.
Like, it is funny, yes, but I'd probably still change it.
Fair. I guess for me, like, it just works because, like, the character works for me, I guess. Like, it's this weird, like, it's... Weirdly enough, okay. I'm gonna pop off for a second here.
Ooh, go for it.
Ruby Rod is weirdly progressive for a 90s movie.
Oh yes.
Like, because Ruby Rod is a very cis hetero male,
Mm-hmm.
but what is masculine to Ruby would be more feminine to some Western ideals.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, Ruby is a K-pop star.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong. I more or less think of him like, I hate to say it this way. I'm gonna completely shatter your image of him. He's a YouTuber.
That too. But doesn't he do music?
I guess but when we see him in,
I guess he's more of an entertainer.
yeah,
Right.
when we see
Yeah,
him in
okay,
the show,
okay, I
he's
can
a
go with
host
that.
of, yeah, from 5 to 7 each and every day. He has a show that he just talks.
Okay, yeah, I can see more YouTuber. That makes sense. Okay.
I guess technically he's a Twitch streamer, but sponsored
You can
by,
stream on YouTube.
yeah, not wrong.
I guess you'd be correct. I think you'd be closer to correct then than I was. But like the character is like weirdly like, because it doesn't lean into what would, because he's a playboy as well,
Yes.
but it doesn't lean into at the 90s what you would lean into as the stereotypical playboy, even in a futuristic setting. Because he's not that. He's what, like, I guess a today world would be more open to
Mm-hmm.
as a playboy.
I mean, and there's other lines that he says too that like are pretty inclusive, honestly. Like how he starts talking and defining Bruce Willis is like this in character, and like starts talking about like all the possible things that he could be into, and then doesn't shame him for it, even though he's all like, "You can be into this, you can be into that, you can be into this, you can be into that." I mean, either way, it's all good with me. Like, it's something along the lines of that, and it just works.
Yeah, no, it does. Like, it's weird to take away that the like comedic humor of the movie is also one of the best things of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a weird take away, because like this movie has Bruce Willis, Gary Oldman, Ian Holm, Mila Jovovich, and Chris Tucker, and I would say Chris Tucker is the part that like shines above the rest, which is crazy to say because you have goddamn McClane, John McClane. You have Gary Oldman, who has too many goddamn credentials to name off. You have Ian Holm, fucking Bilbo, goddamn Baggins, and Mila Jovovich, who needs no introduction because if you live in the modern age, you've seen her. And yet for some reason, Chris Tucker is the part that I come away like this viewing most attached to. Like I can like any scene he was in is the scenes that I remember the best, or I can recall faster, I guess, because I can recall this movie, but it's gonna take me longer to recall certain points than it would with the scenes with him in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird take, but like, hey, you know what?
Oh,
That's my take.
You know, one thing that I know they'd probably change is costume design for like the first aliens that we see. You know, I don't even know their name. I've watched this movie a million times, but I don't know the big aardvark gold aliens, what they're called.
They'd probably make the suits a little bit easier to move in.
Same with like the police that we see. Like they're in this huge bulky armor, and then you see this like tiny little elevator slide down, and it's like, we'll go upstairs. It's like, not in that armor, you're not.
Yeah.
And then yeah. Um No, I haven't really got much else to say, honestly.
Yeah, I got nothing else either. If you haven't seen this movie, watch it. It's worth watching, but if you end up
Absolutely.
like me, please let me know.
Don't let me know, because I'll be disappointed in you.
Let him know too.
I mean, I'd appreciate knowing, I guess, because then it means you're watching the show, and I always appreciate you if you watch the show. I mean, I don't appreciate you if you don't watch the show. Is clearly what I meant as well. So Dev, I don't appreciate you since I know you never watch us. Listen to that. That's our ringer, folks. We're we're going into the news and wrap up.
Just projectile ourselves there before anything else happens.
It's weird to think that I'm the host, but I have no power over each segment because each segment has a button that you control.
No, you have perfect. You usually cue me for it. I usually hit it before you hit the cue because I know the cue's coming. That's how that works.
Press a button there?
When?
Just now? Right
No.
before you said that's how that works?
No.
Okay. Because it looked like you leaned back to press a button, and then there was silence for a second, and then you're like, that's how that works. It's like, oh, okay.
No, I didn't press a button.
All right. Well, on to the news. Honestly, I didn't really look up much news this week, so I haven't really found much.
If you want some news, watch the latest episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I mean, stuff does happen in there.
Because the news that I have attached is that apparently the writers of that show and everyone really involved in it are potentially already working on Captain America 4 because it needs to happen, and I'm so looking forward to this.
I mean, I don't blame you. That does seem kind of cool. I'd watch it. Captain America 4, starred by no,
starred by
but Dev, we're after the spoiler section. Aren't we allowed to spoil things?
not that. We're not allowed to spoil that. If someone could read lips, they are going to understand what I said.
Yeah, but
because I did actually say what I was going to say.
I think I had a ringing in my ear for some reason. Did you mention at all that one part about how there was that one lady who she did the thing where she I can't think of the word right now. I'm vamping. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I remember that entirely.
Yeah, that was intense, man.
God, I'm sorry, audio listeners.
I was kind of hoping you just do it on me and I'd just stop talking, but whatever.
That's harder to do.
Yeah, you can't read my mind. It's fine.
No, I can't.
But no, the only bit of news that I wanted to talk about that I thought was kind of interesting is there's this weird box office fight that happened this weekend. There was two really close competitors. The big winner of the box office this weekend is Mortal Kombat.
I went and saw it.
Did you really?
Yeah, because my friend bought the tickets, so I went.
Did you? How was your movie experience? Your theater experience? Was it?
It was VIP theater, so
Okay.
my favorite theater. So it's the cushy seats and all that. So really, it does they are taking things very serious at the theaters and everything. So that's great.
That's yeah.
And it was a very it was I went there and I'm like, oh yeah, I missed this. I won't go into details about the movie because I will be explaining that in a different episode of this. So.
Yeah. So well, the Mortal Kombat ended up making, according to what I see here, it ended up making $22.5 million from 3,073 North American venues. That's pretty good. That's a lot of money. Um, the second place, and not so distant second, was the anime movie Demon Slayer Mugen Train, which,
Yes.
yeah, it only aired in 1,598 locations. So,
It's in my VIP theater.
yeah, it's in half of the locations. Um, and it has earned an estimated 19.5 million. So, 3 million less, but still, that's pretty damn close.
Yeah. I mean, I don't listen. Anime movies are very successful these days.
Hmm.
Because anime is very much involved, like starting to become imbued in Western culture, as like real entertainment and not as like something just for kids.
Mhm.
Like you can actually tell like really good stories and stuff through it, like you've always been able to. But Western entertainment people didn't think that was a thing. I digress. No, I think like it makes sense because like Demon Slayer was a huge hit
I need to
on
watch
multiple
that anime.
platforms. I haven't watched it yet either. It's on my list.
Should I get a Crunchyroll account to watch?
Just borrow my fucking verve.
Then I can watch like everything. My Hero.
Yes. My
Yeah.
Hero, One Piece, Demon
I'm
Slayer.
not sure if I'd watch One Piece, honestly.
Watch One Piece.
But there's so much of it.
Then read it.
That might be more.
It's 100% more dealable. As the guy who's watched almost every arc, I am 2.5 arcs behind. Trust me, read it. It is faster. You can take it at your own pace.
I could skip
Do
all the
not-
filler.
Well, I already skipped filler.
Oh, okay.
There's only one filler arc that I would require you to watch.
What arc is that?
There's
Is it
a
the
marine
fishing
base.
arc?
No, but there's a marine base that like actually like is a good filler episode, like a set of episodes. Um, and then there's the like I mean, I would put it on the same lines as being like the it's iconic enough filler for the franchise that it's on the same level as Goku and Piccolo driving for One Piece. Because like I talk about filler, and that's like one of the best fillers ever made.
Bitch, get out the
Get out the way. Get out the way, bitch. Get out the way. Wanna go drive some more cars?
Heck yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, that's all the news we got, don't we?
No, I've got two other things actually.
Oh, here we
Technically
go.
three things. One thing, the Oscars happened. I'm not gonna go into all the nitty gritty because I know you really don't care about the Oscars.
I've paid enough attention that people who should have won didn't win.
I'm not gonna get into that stuff. The two things that I want to talk about are some random side stories. Like, for instance, co-director Jim Lebrecht talks about how he felt being a member of the disabled community, being one of the first ever people to wear a custom Gucci tux. He wrote the documentary Crip Camp that was in there. He was co-director of the documentary Crip Camp, which was a camp about disabled people, and he talks about how he is super excited. And the direct quote here is, there's a couple of questions in this specific Variety article. One of the question is, what do you think when you heard that Gucci wanted to dress you? And he replied, I was floored. My friend with the disability rights activists introduced me to Gucci. She and I talked a while when it looked like maybe Nicole and my film was going to become nominated, about how to approach clothing and what to do. And she said, Jim, I could find you a fashion house that wants to dress you. And it's a real important statement. When he was asked what exactly that statement is, he stated, I think it's accepting the fact, or really saying very boldly that it's a person and it's not what your body looks like. it's boldly saying that it's the person and it's not what your body looks like. It's who you are, and the elegance comes in many shapes and forms and sizes and colors and statures, and that to really put their sizable effort into dressing me and wanting me to represent them as a label is just, it almost brings me to tears now because it sends such a clear and positive big loud message. I think our film has been a real icebreaker for a lot of different things, really kind of bringing to the fore, looking at legitimate and authentic stories about disabilities. That there's interest and and there's the box office there. The film has been a real popular film. This has been a big part of our mission statement to reframe what disability means to people with and with us and without disability. So he was excited that there is a big company that's all about fashion. That's all they care about. They're a fashion company. And they're like, we will, even though you're not this normal stereotypical image of beauty, we want you to represent us on the runway. So it's awesome. It's very minor, says me, but it's very interesting still. It's something I wanted to bring up. Because that's a big part of the Oscars is fashion, which I hate, but still. It's the part of the Oscars I hate the most. Let's talk about the fashion, like the gold Crocs.
I mean, it's to make statements, and people sometimes use it to make important statements.
Mhm.
So, it makes sense that it would be a topic that would need to be discussed during it.
Yeah. So yeah, there's one thing. The second part of the Oscars that I wanted to talk about is the second woman in history to win Best Director, Chloe Zhao, for her directing of Nomadland. So, it's the first time in more than a decade, and only the second time in history. Kind of disappointing, but also monumental. The only other woman to get Best Director is Catherine Bigelow, for her 2009 war thriller, The Hurt Locker. So, yeah, women making movie history for the first time in forever. I mean, not forever, but still forever. Should happen more. More women should be able to make movies. There's that. There's not enough women in the industry, is what I'm getting at there.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at.
It's hard to tell. You seem like not interested anymore.
Well, you said you only had two things about it to talk about.
Yeah, those
I have
two things about the Oscar right there.
And also that it ended way more awkward than the La La Land one did.
I wasn't gonna bring that up.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
What was your? You can bring it up. Wow.
Well, I was saying that would be like the thing to talk about it, right? Like,
I mean, yeah, I guess. I didn't watch the Oscars myself, so
I watched how it ended. And it's Joaquin Phoenix announcing like best actor. And like the reason why it was at the end is because it was more than likely from a directorial and producer standpoint, because they don't know who's going to win these when they're doing this. It was highly expected that Chadwick Boseman would win a postmortem Oscar. Understandably so. And then it went to the only person who wasn't there, because I believe the other options were like Steven Yeun, who is in Invincible. You had a couple others. Who else was it? Shit. God, I can't remember off the top of my head. But the other two people who are nominated with him, those three were all nominated, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had Anthony Hopkins, who wasn't there, and Chadwick Boseman, who had passed in 2020. And Anthony Hopkins won. Not there. And so you have like Joaquin Phoenix like there announce that and being like, well, the Academy accepts the award in his honor. and then just end.
I was about to say, I see that here. Yeah, it was It was an abrupt ending when the best actor was not even there. A photograph of Hopkins appears on the screen behind Joaquin Phoenix, who noted that Hopkins was unable to claim his award in person, and they accept on his behalf. He leaves, and then the show just
Yeah. It's a very awkward end. Like, La La Land was a weird end. That was like like people said that like it was the opposite energy of what happened with that. Like it just ended. Like, cause it was weird, cause like people would like everyone expected Chadwick to win that, which again goes to why I always, why my sentiment is, fuck the award shows. But I digress, because I mean, they always have a tendency to pick the I can't quite figure out what reason they do that every time. But
it's
yeah,
an honor to be even recognized for the Oscar.
I like to fucking what's her name? I just saw about it. Glenn
Weiss.
Yes, who's been nominated 8 fucking times without one. Like,
you're not wrong.
Yes, just an honor.
Yeah, I was about to say other people were upset because I mentioned Chloe Zhao. I guess we're just getting into it. I mentioned Chloe Zhao, but people were really upset because even though she had won her best director, it didn't get the best best picture award.
That keeps happening. Why? Like, Parasite seems to be like the one outlier in this. Like, over years, like the best director won't get the best picture, and it doesn't make sense. What won best picture then?
Best picture, oh god, was, sorry, it takes me a moment. Actor, actress, animated film, cinematography, directing. Best documentary, international feature film, movie. Best picture. I'm confused. Because this says best picture did go to Nomad. Interesting. Now I'm confused.
Chloe Zhao?
Yeah.
Or Zhao Ting? She won that.
Now I'm very confused.
Is that who you said won the best director?
Yeah. But the article that I was just reading said she didn't. It was from Collider, so that could probably be why. Let's see.
Yeah, she got 2. She got both, yeah. Apparently China censored her win. Anyways. Don't censor us, China. Oh no.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't. Yeah, I'm confused on this article and what they mean. But yeah, I guess it's just Oscar drama happened. There's that. That happened. It happens
As
every
it
year
does.
at this point. So, yeah. Last bit of news that I had to bring up. That really brought us down to a slow end there with the Oscars.
Sorry.
Okay, not your fault. I'm just talking about next week or next month, should I say? So
Next month.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next month, it's really just a freaking grab bag of movies. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like, there's movies that we hadn't seen yet that are coming out, or came out,
mhm,
technically, or are being available through streaming.
mhm. So, next week, we're watching Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat!
Yeah. So, we're watching the original, and then we're watching the new one that just came out. And then after that, the next week after that, Mother's Day's happening. So, we're watching Shrek 1 and 2, because, Fairy Godmother. Very loose reasoning, but still.
Shut up, it's an excuse to watch Shrek and Shrek 2.
Yeah, it just gets it out of the way. The week after that, I don't have it written up in front of me, so I'm starting to forget
The
already.
Hunt and Those Who Wish Me Dead.
That was the name that I had a hard time remembering. Who the hell names a movie Those Who Wish Me Dead or Want Me Dead? That
Wish Me Dead, it's Wish Me Dead, it's Wish Me Dead.
Those Who Wish Me Dead. That is a long title that's not catchy at all. So
you mean it's not catchy like the long title of Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn?
exactly. It's exactly like that. I mean,
That one's great. The other
yeah,
one's
that movie title at least has all these funny fancy words that make it like interesting. But Those Who Wish Me Dead, wish us dead. It's just
Me Dead.
a lot of words, and it doesn't really have a ring to it. And it's about like a woman who's a firefighter, who's
Ex-firefighter.
like none of that sounds like yeah. We'll get there.
When we watch it, we'll talk
Yeah.
about it. And then Interstellar and Tenet,
mhm.
the week after on the 24th. And on the 31st, last day of May, we're doing RoboCop 87, RoboCop 14, and Into the Wire. An excuse to watch the RoboCops and then Into the Wire.
Yeah. That's a very loosely put together week, but I really wanted to watch the Anthony Mackie movie that came out on Netflix, and then, stuff.
Yeah.
They work. It fits. Kind of.
Kinda.
Yeah. Those are our movies. That's next month. I'm excited.
I am too.
Oh.
So, you know what? Hit the next screen. Why are we on this screen still? You haven't switched over?
We're still in the news section. We were just talking about the news of next
Oh,
month.
I thought you leaned back and I thought we were in the other screen.
There.
Because that's like you look
Now-
really relaxed.
Yeah, now we're in the last screen. There, you happy?
Okay. Yeah, well, just wait. Just
Don't
wait
relax.
till we get over here to next week.
Oh.
And hopefully none of the scores are sub-zero.
Hang on. I'm not educated enough for this.
And hopefully that the movie has like reptilian thick skin. Or else people might start raiding the towns.
I got nothing.
All right.
You've got this, Steph. You're flawless victory, man.
Well, hopefully it wasn't a fatality.
Or else the show never ends. Oh god. All right. We're out of here. Like, comment, subscribe, read the review.
All the things.
Yeah, all the things. Dings. Yeah. Okay. Bye. See you next week.
Mortal Kombat!